What if the very thing making you anxious right now is actually the proof that it is written? What if the silence, the delay, the confusion, the obstacles between you and them are not signs to walk away, but signs that Allah is preparing something sacred? We are quick to believe that ease means destiny and difficulty means rejection. But what if Allah does the opposite? What if before He unites two hearts in halal, He tests them in private? He shakes their intentions. He stretches their patience. He watches how they behave when no one else sees. Because marriage is not just about love. It is about responsibility. It is about leadership. It is about building something that must survive storms. And Allah does not hand over something that serious without first checking if you are ready to carry it. So if you are facing delay, if you are facing distance, if you are fighting your own emotions while trying to stay within halal, do not panic yet. This test may not be there to break the connection. It may be there to prove it. The test separates desire from sincere intention. What if the reason everything suddenly feels unstable is not because it is ending, but because Allah is testing what is inside your heart? You say you love them. You say you want to marry them. You imagine a future together. But the moment things slow down, the moment replies are not instant, the moment there is confusion or silence, your emotions rise quickly. However, you feel anxious. You feel afraid. You feel like you are losing something. That emotional reaction is not random, it is exposure. Allah sometimes removes clarity to reveal your intention. When everything was smooth, it was easy to say, I want them for the sake of Allah. But when things become uncertain, your real reason begins to show. Are you attached to the person or to the attention they give you? Are you in love with them or in love with how they make you feel important, wanted, chosen? Desire says, I need them or I will break. Sincere intention says, Ya Allah, if they are good for my deen and my future, bring them to me in halal. If not, remove them gently and give me better. The test separates these two voices inside you. Desire is impatient. It pushes. It fears loss. It makes you overthink. It makes you check your phone constantly. It makes you imagine worst-case scenarios. Sincere intention is calm. It trusts Allah. It prays instead of panicking. He shows it chooses dignity over desperation. Sometimes Allah allows distance so you can see how you behave under pressure. Do you start chasing in a way that lowers your self-respect? Do you ignore your prayers because you are too busy thinking about them? Do you make excuses to cross boundaries just to keep the connection alive? If your fear of losing them becomes bigger than your fear of displeasing Allah, then the test is showing you that your heart needs correction. But if the difficulty pushes you closer to Allah instead of further away, that is a powerful sign. If you start praying tahajjud, making sincere duha, asking Allah for guidance instead of forcing outcomes, then your intention is being purified. You begin to want what Allah wants, not just what you want. And that is maturity. Before Allah unites two people in halal, He cleans their motives. Because marriage is not just romance. It is responsibility, it is leadership, it is sacrifice. If you enter marriage with ego, jealousy, insecurity, or emotional dependency, those weaknesses will destroy peace later. So Allah exposes them now before the contract is signed. Marriage built on ego says, you must complete me. Marriage built on sincerity says, let us help each other reach Jannah. That is the difference. And the test is there to make sure your love is not just strong, but pure. The delay that builds. Unshakable Sabr. Why does it take so long when your heart feels ready? Because delay is not always denial. Because delay is not always denial. Sometimes delay is construction. We think love should move fast. We think if it is written, it should be easy and immediate. But Allah does not measure readiness by emotion. He measures it by stability, and stability is built through Sabr. When something is delayed, your true strength is revealed. In the beginning, you feel hopeful. Then time passes, then questions start forming. You begin to wonder, is this really meant for me? You feel the pressure of waiting. You see others getting married. You hear comments from family. You feel the fear of uncertainty. And this is where Sabr is born. Sabr is not just waiting quietly. Sabr is waiting without losing your character. It is continuing to pray even when there is no clear sign. It is controlling your tongue when frustration rises. It is refusing to rush into haram just because halal feels slow. It is keeping your dignity when your emotions feel heavy. Allah delays what you want to see how you behave in the waiting. Do you complain? Do you become bitter? Do you start doubting His wisdom? Or do you say, Ya Allah, I trust your timing more than my feelings. Marriage itself will come with tests. There will be financial pressure. There will be misunderstandings. There will be moments when patience is the only thing holding peace together. If you cannot survive delay before marriage, how will you survive difficulty inside marriage? The waiting period is training. It is building emotional muscles you will need later. Delay also protects you from rushing into something half-prepared. Sometimes you feel ready emotionally, but not financially. Sometimes you feel ready for companionship, but not for responsibility. Sometimes your heart is prepared, but your character still needs growth. Allah sees what you cannot see. He knows if the timing is slightly off, the same relationship that could have been peaceful might become overwhelming. So He stretches the timeline, not to hurt you, but to strengthen you. During delay, you learn to control overthinking. You learn to sit with uncertainty. You learn to separate trust from obsession. You learn that your life does not stop just because marriage has not happened yet. You continue building yourself. You continue working. You continue praying. You continue improving. That is Sabr in action. And here's something powerful. When something is truly written for you, delay does not destroy it, it purifies it. If both hearts remain respectful, patient, and conscious of Allah during the waiting, that is not weakness. That is proof of depth. Unshakable Sabr means your peace does not collapse every time circumstances change. What it means you are stable even when timing is unclear. It means you believe that what Allah writes for you will arrive at the exact moment it is meant to arrive. Not a day early, not a day late. Delay feels heavy in the moment, but later you may look back and realize it saved you from rushing, from mistakes, from regret. What feels like a pause may actually be protection. What feels like silence may actually be alignment happening quietly behind the scenes. The person who learns Sabr before marriage enters marriage with strength, because they are not desperate. They are disciplined. They are not rushing. They are rooted. That is why the delay is part of the test. Not to weaken you, but to build a patience that nothing can shake. The boundary that protects the barakah. Here is something many people do not want to hear. If it is truly meant to be halal, it will be tested with haram first, not because Allah wants you to fall, but because He wants to see if you can protect what you are asking for. When feelings grow, when attachment becomes strong, when the connection feels real, the easiest thing to do is cross small lines and call them harmless. A late-night conversation that goes too deep. Private jokes that slowly remove modesty. Emotional dependency that replaces reliance on Allah. It never starts big, it starts small. And this is exactly where the test is. Can you stop yourself? Can you reduce communication when it becomes excessive? Can you keep your words clean? Can you lower your gaze? Can you respect distance when needed? These boundaries are not restrictions to block love. They are shields to protect barakah. Barakah means peace. It means stability. It means goodness that continues. and barakah cannot live in a place built on disobedience. If a relationship begins with secrecy, emotional addiction, or crossing limits, it may feel intense, but intensity is not the same as blessing. Fire is intense too, but it burns what it touches. Allah watches how you behave when no one else is watching. When you have the opportunity to cross a line and you choose not to, that choice carries weight. When you could send that message but you hold back for the sake of Allah, that self-control builds spiritual strength. When you step away from something that feels good because you want something pure, Allah sees that sacrifice. Many people say, "We will fix it after marriage." But habits built before marriage do not disappear after marriage. If there is no respect for limits now, why would respect suddenly appear later? The boundary you protect today becomes the trust you enjoy tomorrow. Sometimes Allah tests you by making the connection strong. The emotions feel deep. The conversations feel meaningful. The attachment feels real. And right at that moment, He checks your discipline. Do you let emotions lead, or does your Deen lead? Teaches you patience. It teaches you that teaches you patience. It teaches you that not everything you feel must be acted on immediately. In fact, the ability to control your feelings is proof that you are mature enough for marriage. And here is something powerful. When two people respect boundaries before marriage, they enter marriage with trust already built. There is no hidden guilt, no secret shame, no regret about how things started. There is clarity, there is honor, there is confidence. That is barakah. If the connection pushes you closer to salah, closer to self-improvement, closer to Allah, that is a good sign. But if it pulls you away from prayer, distracts you from responsibility, or makes you justify small sins, then the test is warning you. Not every strong feeling is a sign of destiny. Sometimes it is a test of discipline. The boundary is the gate. If you can protect it, you prove that your love is not just emotional. It is intentional. It is controlled. It is conscious of Allah. And love that is protected by taqwa does not lose its sweetness. It gains strength, because what is guarded for Allah is preserved by Allah. The conflict that reveals your true character. Most people think love is proven in sweet moments, in compliments, in long conversations, in feeling understood. But Allah does not test relationships through comfort alone. He tests them through conflict, because conflict does not show how much you feel. It shows who you are. When a misunderstanding happens, when they say something you did not expect, when your message is ignored, when plans change, when disappointment enters the picture, something inside you reacts. That reaction is your real character. Do you become calm, or do you become aggressive? Do you try to understand, or do you immediately assume the worst? Do you protect your dignity, or do you let your ego take control? Conflict removes the mask. When everything is smooth, it is easy to appear patient. But when your ego feels attacked, your insecurities feel triggered, your expectations feel unmet, that is when the truth comes out. And Allah allows these small clashes before marriage so you can see yourself clearly. Marriage does not magically improve character. It magnifies it. If you are jealous now, you will be more jealous later. If you overthink now, you will overthink more later. If you shut down emotionally now, you will create distance later. So, before Allah unites two people in halal, He shows them their emotional weaknesses in small doses. Sometimes the conflict is not about the other person at all, it is about you. It reveals your fears of abandonment. It reveals your need for control. It reveals your insecurity. It reveals your lack of emotional discipline. And this is not to shame you. It is to grow you. So as if every small disagreement makes you threaten to walk away, you are not ready for marriage. If every delay makes you question their loyalty, you are not emotionally stable yet. If you cannot have a difficult conversation without raising your tone, blaming, or shutting down, The test is telling you to work on yourself first. Conflict is not always a red flag. Sometimes it is a mirror. It shows you the parts of yourself you have ignored. It forces you to develop patience in communication. It teaches you to listen instead of react. It teaches you that not every emotion deserves immediate action. And here is something powerful. The way you handle conflict before marriage determines the peace inside marriage. A person who learns to pause before speaking, who learns to ask instead of assume, who learns to control anger instead of letting it control them, builds emotional safety. And emotional safety is one of the greatest gifts in marriage. Allah does not send small conflicts to destroy the connection. He sends them to refine it. He wants to see if you can choose maturity over emotion. He wants to see if you can protect respect even when you feel hurt. Because love without character is unstable. But love supported by patience, humility, and emotional control becomes strong. So when conflict appears, do not panic immediately. Look at your response. Look at your behavior. Ask yourself, if this is how I react now, what will I be like as a spouse? The conflict is not there to push you apart. It is there to shape you into someone capable of lasting unity. The distance that breaks illusion and reveals reality. Sometimes the hardest part of the test is not conflict. It is distance. Communication becomes less. Replies are slower. Meetings are fewer. The excitement feels quieter. And your heart immediately starts asking, is this fading? But what if the distance is not the end? What if it is clarity? So when two people talk constantly, emotions grow fast. Attachment becomes strong. You start imagining a future. You fill in the missing details with hope. You create a perfect picture in your mind. But constant closeness can blur reality. You may stop noticing flaws. You may ignore differences in values. You may overlook small red flags because the feeling is strong. Distance removes that emotional fog. When communication reduces, you are left alone with your thoughts. And that is where truth begins to surface. Without daily reassurance, you start asking deeper questions. Do I respect their character? Do our goals align? Does this person bring me closer to Allah or distract me from Him? Am I calm with them or just emotionally attached? Distance forces honesty. When you are not constantly talking, you begin to observe instead of fantasize. You notice how they handle space. Do they remain respectful? Do they maintain dignity? Do they use distance as an excuse to explore other options? Or do they stay consistent? The way someone behaves during space says more than how they behave during closeness. Sometimes Allah creates distance to remove illusion. You may realize that you are more attached to the attention than to the person. You may notice that without constant communication, the connection feels weak. That realization is not loss. It is protection. It saves you from building your future on imagination instead of reality. Other times, distance strengthens what is real. Even without constant contact, respect remains. Even without daily conversation, the intention stays clear. There is no chaos, no games, no pressure. Just patience and trust. That is a different kind of strength. Distance also shows your level of dependence. If a few days of silence destroy your peace completely, that means your emotional balance was tied to them instead of to Allah. That is not healthy. A stable heart should not collapse because of temporary space. Marriage requires two whole individuals, not two people who cannot function without constant reassurance. Distance teaches independence. It teaches emotional control. It teaches you how to focus on your own growth instead of making someone else your entire world. And here is something powerful. What is written for you does not disappear because of distance. If it is truly meant, time and space will not erase it. In fact, distance may filter out what was never strong to begin with. Illusion needs constant feeding. Reality survives silence. So when distance comes, do not immediately chase to close the gap. use the space wisely. Reflect. Observe. Strengthen your relationship with Allah. Build yourself. If the connection is real, it will remain steady without pressure. If it fades quickly, that clarity is mercy. Because it is better to lose an illusion now than to discover it after marriage. The obstacle that Allah uses to align destinies. When obstacles appear, most people panic. A parent says no. Finances are not stable. Timing feels wrong. Distance between cities becomes an issue. Cultural differences create tension. Suddenly, what felt simple becomes complicated. And the first thought that enters your mind is, maybe this is not meant to be. But not every obstacle is a rejection. Sometimes it is alignment happening slowly. Marriage is not just two people liking each other. It is two families, two backgrounds, two lifestyles, two responsibilities coming together. And Allah sees every detail you cannot see. He sees future pressures. He sees hidden weaknesses. He sees risks you are blind to because your heart is emotional. So, He places obstacles in the path, not to block you permanently, but to test the structure. An obstacle tests seriousness. When things are easy, everyone says they are committed. But when effort is required, when conversations become uncomfortable, when real planning must happen, that is when true intention shows. Are you willing to take steps in a halal way? Are you willing to involve families properly? Are you willing to wait until finances improve instead of rushing into stress? The obstacle exposes who is serious and who is just emotional. He saw sometimes the delay in finances is not about money. It is about responsibility. Allah may be giving you time to stabilize your income, improve your discipline, or learn how to manage pressure. Because entering marriage without preparation can turn love into stress very quickly. Sometimes family resistance is not pure rejection. It is caution. Parents see risks differently. Their concerns may force deeper conversations. They may slow the process so that decisions are made with wisdom instead of excitement. Even if you disagree with them, their hesitation can protect you from rushing blindly. And sometimes the obstacle is timing. One of you may still be growing spiritually. One of you may still be emotionally immature. One of you may not yet be ready for leadership or partnership. Allah delays the union until both sides are stronger, because unity at the wrong time can create damage that could have been avoided. Here is something important to understand. If something is truly written for you, no obstacle can permanently stop it. Doors may close temporarily, but Allah can open doors you never imagined. Hearts can soften. Situations can change. Finances can improve. Distances can shorten. What is written will find its path. But if after effort, patience, and halal steps, the doors remain firmly shut, that too is mercy. Because Allah does not remove something good to harm you. He removes it to redirect you toward something better. The obstacle forces you to choose how you respond. Do you try to force the door open in ways that displease Allah? Do you hide things, lie, or manipulate to make it happen? Or do you step back and say, Ya Allah, if this is written, make the path clear. If not, close it gently. Alignment is not always fast. It is precise. Allah arranges details in ways you cannot measure. The obstacle may feel heavy now, but later you may realize it prevented regret, protected your peace, or delayed the union until both of you were truly ready. An obstacle is not always a wall. Sometimes it is a filter, and what passes through that filter with patience, respect, and trust in Allah is usually built on something stronger than emotion. It is built on divine alignment, the pressure that forces you to become ready. When you truly want something pure, something serious, something that carries responsibility like marriage, pressure begins to rise. You feel it in your chest, you feel it in your thoughts. You feel it when you realize this is no longer just emotions. This is real. This is commitment. This is a future. And that pressure is not there to crush you. It is there to wake you up. Before this connection, maybe you were comfortable. Your prayers were inconsistent, your finances were unstable, your habits were careless, your discipline was weak. But when marriage becomes a possibility, something shifts. You begin to think differently. You begin to ask yourself hard questions. Am I responsible enough? Am I emotionally stable enough? Can I lead? Can I support? Can I protect? That discomfort you feel is growth starting. Allah does not give you a spouse just because you feel ready emotionally. He prepares you through pressure. The uncertainty pushes you to improve. The fear of losing something pure pushes you to fix yourself. You start praying more seriously. You start controlling your tongue. You begin saving money. You begin thinking long-term instead of short-term. That is not coincidence. That is training. Pressure reveals gaps in your character. Maybe you notice your jealousy. Maybe you notice your insecurity. Maybe you notice your laziness. Maybe you realize you struggle with communication. These realizations are not meant to discourage you. They are meant to prepare you. Because marriage will expose those weaknesses even more if they remain unfixed. Sometimes Allah delays the union not because it is denied, but because you are still under construction. You want the blessing, but He wants you to be strong enough to carry it. A spouse is not just romance, it is leadership. It is sacrifice, it is consistency. It is showing up even when you are tired. Pressure forces you to grow into that version of yourself. Instead of obsessing over whether they are the one, the pressure shifts your focus inward. It makes you ask, am I becoming someone worthy of a righteous spouse? If Allah gave me marriage tomorrow, could I handle it with maturity? Could I manage conflict calmly? Could I provide stability? Could I protect trust? When you start working on yourself instead of just chasing the outcome, something powerful happens. You become stronger regardless of what happens with that person. You become disciplined. You become spiritually aware. Yes, you become emotionally grounded. And here is the hidden mercy in pressure. Even if this specific connection does not end in marriage, the growth remains with you. The improvements stay. The discipline stays. The closeness to Allah stays. Nothing is wasted. Pressure is uncomfortable because it stretches you beyond your current level. But without stretching, there is no strength. Without weight, there is no muscle. Without responsibility, there is no maturity. So when you feel the weight of uncertainty, do not only ask, will this work? Also ask, who am I becoming through this? Because sometimes the test is not only about preparing the relationship, it is about preparing you, and when you finally become ready, emotionally stable, spiritually grounded, disciplined, responsible, then whether it is this person or someone better, you will enter marriage not as someone desperate to receive, but as someone capable of giving. The surrender that unlocks. Divine union. After the intention has been tested, after the waiting has stretched you, after the boundaries have purified you, after the conflicts have exposed you, after the distance has clarified you, after the obstacles have filtered you, and after the pressure has strengthened you, one final test remains. Surrender. This is the hardest one. Because surrender means releasing control while your heart still cares deeply. And it means stepping back from trying to manage every detail. It means accepting that no matter how much you plan, push, or analyze, the final decision belongs to Allah alone. At this stage, your du'a changes. In the beginning, your du'a may have sounded like this, Ya Allah, let this work. Please make it happen. But surrender sounds different. It says, Ya Allah, if this is good for my deen, my heart, and my future, make it easy and bless it. If not, remove it from me without breaking me, and give me something better. That shift is powerful. Surrender does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop forcing. It means your trust becomes stronger than your fear. You stop checking signs every hour. You stop reading into every small detail. You stop panicking over temporary silence. Your heart becomes calmer because you realize something important. What Allah has written for you cannot be stolen by anyone. If they are truly written for you, no delay, no person, no misunderstanding can erase that decree. And if they are not written for you, no amount of chasing can secure them. This understanding brings peace. Tawakkul is not passive. It is active trust. You still take halal steps. You still communicate properly. You still involve families, but inside your heart is not desperate. It is steady. You are not trying to control the outcome. You are placing it in the hands of the one who controls all outcomes. And here is the hidden beauty of surrender. When you finally release control, you become emotionally free. Your happiness no longer depends on one person's response. Your stability no longer shakes with every change in circumstance. Your focus returns to Allah, and that is when clarity often arrives. Sometimes surrender leads to union. Doors open, hearts soften, situations align in ways you did not expect. The same path that once felt blocked suddenly becomes smooth. And you realize Allah was simply waiting for your heart to reach this level of trust. Other times, surrender leads to redirection. The connection fades gently. The attachment loosens. And instead of breaking you, it strengthens you. You walk away with dignity, knowing you chose Allah over your own attachment. And later, when something better enters your life, you understand why the first one was not meant to stay. In both outcomes, surrender protects you. Because divine union is not unlocked by desperation. It is unlocked by trust. It is unlocked when your heart says, I want what Allah wants for me, even if it is different from what I imagined. When you reach that level, you are no longer chasing love. You are aligned with destiny. And the one who is aligned with Allah's will never loses. So, if you are in the middle of a test right now, do not rush to label it as rejection. Do not let fear convince you that difficulty means the end. Before Allah unites two people in halal, He refines them separately. He purifies their intention. He strengthens their patience. He teaches them boundaries. He exposes their weaknesses. He removes illusions. He aligns circumstances. He prepares their character. And then, when their hearts are steady enough to carry something sacred, He decides. If this person is written for you, no delay can cancel it. No obstacle can erase it. No distance can destroy it. What Allah has decreed will arrive at the exact moment it is meant to arrive. And if it is not written, then trust that your Lord is not taking something away to leave you empty. He is redirecting you towards something more peaceful, more stable, and more blessed. The real success is not just being united with someone. The real success is becoming someone worthy of a righteous union. So focus on your sincerity, guard your boundaries, strengthen your sabr, improve your character, and most of all, anchor your heart in tawakkul. Because when you are aligned with Allah, you are never truly losing. And when the time is right, what is written for you will not hesitate to find you.